There's so many different mental challenges that come with making games. But for me, at least, the worst is losing motivation and not knowing what to do. Or like if something happens in your project and you lose some progress, or you made a change and it took you so long, but you don't like it and you have to like change it back. That's tough for me. But maybe this is weird, but all I think about is settled. And this guy, he never gives up. And I watched most of the series, is like Swampletics especially. He had some major setbacks that costed him 1,000 hours of progress, but he still finished it, didn't he? It's more legendary because he did, right? Like, you have to think of your life. It's a movie. You are in a movie. You're the main character. And there's about to be setbacks. But when you rise up and you finish the job despite that, that just makes the story so much more legendary, right? And yeah, I think it's amazing when you can tell that to people. But that doesn't always need to be the case. There's things you can do to avoid some setbacks or like save yourself some time. So I would recommend, didn't do this as well. I mean, I just recently started that whenever I'm about to do a new feature, a big feature at least in my project that could potentially break it, always back up your project, back it up often, keep the backups, because it's going to save you so much time. There's been times, like I said, that where I spend like 5 hours on a feature and it just doesn't turn out the way I like, so I need to redo it. So I don't like the feature and I go back to what I had before. Or I didn't like the feature and then like I turned it back and then I was like, oh, actually, I could have done it a bit better. So then I do it again. So that's where having a game design document is so handy, because that will actually have you organized. It'll have you saving so much time as well. And I think that's very important. I think it was stupid of me not to do it. I absolutely will for my next project, but I'm just starting out as a game developer. And this project that I'm working on wasn't even intended to be a game in the first place. So it kind of just came together as it did. But making a game design document is very important. I can bring up here again to remind you guys, you can go to develop.games. This is a website from Pirate Software, and just go to game dev and somewhere, down here, what kind of game should I make? It's going to say one of the best ways to start this process is by building a game design document. You're going to click there, and this will bring you to a format that you can use on how to build a game design document. So you see they do an introduction, pitch, they show inspiration, they show the platform, normal stuff, right? But then you have to think like, oh, you have to think about my target audience already. You have to think about the gameplay overview. And then they do mockups actually. So you see it says animated mockups art is not necessarily final. Full art mockups, this is just animations. It looks pretty good. And this gives you such a clear idea of how to develop. You'll save so much time doing this. Shows you even color palette design. I think they already like kind of did a level design here. Yeah, so it goes through all this. And then it goes to the timeline. And here is where you can actually see the dates that they want to finish things by. And then it says they finished or not. And then the categories of everything. Another thing that I can recommend is, I can show you guys my timeline for my project here. So this isn't a great timeline, but what you can see here is these are my polish stages, right? This is polish, where I'm doing my polish 1. This is where I do polish 2. This is where I do polish 3. Or wait, no, this is where I do polish 3. And you can see I put them here, right? But when I'm actually working on this other stuff, when I'm adding content, when I'm working on these features, I'm not polishing. All these bugs and stuff, I'm just leaving them in. At least, I mean, the ones that don't take, like, if they take more than like 10 minutes, I'm saving that for polish. If there's some little art change I want to make, some little sauce I want to put in there, I'm saving that for polish. And anything, really anything that takes like a day or less, I'm putting in polish. Just those little things that aren't in here. And for me, at least, that helps to break it up because I can just get through these things really quickly and move on to polish later and just knock those things out. And that also makes me feel like I'm doing a lot more, and that helps with the loss of motivation or feeling like you're not making progress, at least for me. But as I was saying, in my head, whenever I want to give up or something happened, I literally think, would Settled give up here? No, he never gives up. He never gives up. His life is a movie. He makes the plot, right? And the things that happens, it just makes the whole story come together and makes it that much more enjoyable that you really don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, he's had some emotional moments because of all that lost progress, but I mean, that's why I love watching him so much, and that's why I love to apply that to a lot of things in my life, but game development, which is very time consuming. Those are the times that I just embrace what happens, and I take those events and try to learn from them, and I try to make the story of the creation of the game better. Another tip is, of course, keeping your game into a good scope. So if you know you're not that good at programming, maybe, do a simple project. The better practice is not to learn as you're doing the project. The better practice is you're supposed to do that, but the better practice is to do a simpler project when you have simpler programming skills. So you wouldn't want to do a harder project and do the simple task first and then do the harder task first and then the harder task next, and go like that, because your project will get messy. I mean, there's so many reasons. But just keep it simple. Keep your project simple. Follow that KISS mentality. Keep it simple, stupid. And after a few games, you'll actually be able to make something that you will like. As long as you follow the game design document, right? You got to make one of these. Do this. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Make your story greater after their falls, right? Embrace them. As for my project, I'm going to leave a link in the description of my Discord, which contains a log of all my progress, as well as it's going to have a place that you can play test on itch.io. Link in the description. And yep,